Welcome to the third class for the RLA Intermediate GED Prep. This is a recorded lesson for the third class, and we're going to jump right into it. So tonight we're going to be looking specifically at analysis and synthesis questions, specifically examples of the kind of questions you'll see on the RLA test. Real quick, here's my contact information again. If you have any questions about how to complete the distance learning for this course, how to get into the online lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or if you want to drop in for my office hour also from 5 to 6 p.m. to get caught up or to get some assistance on anything that you're working on. The class tonight was broken into two parts. The first part being a question set and modeling discussion of questions as I walk through using the Aztec system, and the second part from 7 to 8 it was a workshop space for working in Aztec, Newsela, or a GED prep booklet, or any Lexile identified GED prep text reading. So tonight we're gonna see a few examples of analysis questions and possibly a synthesis question. So analysis questions require recognizing vocabulary or skills in a passage, or applying skills in a passage. If you go back to lesson number 2, the vocabulary and the skills discussed in lesson number 2, it was a whirlwind of a bunch of different things. Those are going to be applied in this lesson. It's going to require you to read closely and understand a passage's meaning and intent. And the analysis questions are also usually aimed at testing figurative language, passage structure, and figuring out like why is the author writing this? What was the author's goal? So the other type of question you may run into on the RLA is a synthesis question, and these are more rare. There are fewer of these, and they generally take a little bit more time, and that's why there's fewer of them. They're going to require you to compare and contrast two separate passages or texts, and you're going to need to take information from one source and apply it somewhere else. They're usually aimed at bigger questions, and the primary place these are tested is in the writing. But you will see a couple on the RLA. So tonight for this group practice, we're going to look at the GED Flash Reading and Language Arts class in Aztec. If you don't have this class, reach out to me and I can add you to this class. It's a really useful prep tool alongside the GED prep solution. So we're using the GED Flash class for this. That class is broken up into 3 different parts: reading for meaning, grammar and language, and identifying and creating arguments. We're going to be working a random set of questions from the reading for meaning Flash set, and that's what we'll be doing tonight. So I have logged in to Aztec here. I'm going to click on View Classrooms, and then I'm going to click on Aztec's GED Flash Reading and Language Arts. I'm going to hit Reading for Meaning, and it's going to take me straight into a randomized set of questions. Now, this Flash set of 10 questions is totally random, and you'll get your own set that's completely unique. So just recognize that you can do this too, even after watching this walkthrough. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to talk through the thought process of answering these questions and the best way to do it. So the first thing when we start out is we've got to read the question itself. Before we read the passage, start with a question. Which of the following events happened first? So my options over here are going to be events, and they're going to be in this text from Frankenstein, which looks pretty long. So what I want to do immediately is get an idea of what my options are. A is the sun had set. B is the narrator sat idle, not doing anything. C is a fiend was created. And D is fishing vessels speck the water. So these sound like they're going to be really specific moments in here. All right, there's a tool you can use if you're taking this test online where I can literally just, instead of reading the whole thing, I can scan for a specific passage. Now you should be able to do this on any online test. But this is going to speed up my scanning. So the sun had set, Control F. All right, that is literally in the first line. I sat one evening in my laboratory, the sun had set, and the moon was just rising from the sea. That's definitely in the running for first. All right, the narrator sat idle. Sat idle. idle. The moon was rising from the sea. I had not sufficient light for my employment, and I remained idle. So the sun had set, I remained idle, in a pause of consideration of whether I should leave my labor for the night or hasten its conclusion by an unremitting attention to it. Got some good big vocabulary terms in here that on their own would be kind of difficult. A fiend was created. Fiend. Looking for fiend. So if I was just scanning this passage for the word fiend, it only appears twice. So if I'm reading for a keyword in my options. 3 years before, I was engaged in the same manner and had created a fiend. So if I was just looking at the very first thing that happens in the passage, it would be the sun had set. But in time, 3 years before I was engaged in the same manner, I had created a fiend. So 3 years ago, this character, this Frankenstein character, created a fiend. So right now I'm going to go with C. All right, the correct answer is C. It says a fiend was created 3 years before the rest of the events of the passage. And again, from that passage that I found. I was able to find that because I took a keyword from one of my options and applied it to the passage itself. The next question is, what relationship does the sentence, even the sparrows on the roofs and the rats in the sewers were growing scarce, have with the sentence that precedes it? So to answer this question, I need to know that precedes means the sentence that comes before it. So I'm looking for the sentence, even the sparrows on the roofs and the rats in the sewers were growing scarce. All right. It's the second sentence in this passage, after besieged Paris was in the throes of famine. So what's the relationship between Paris was in the throes of famine and even the sparrows on the roofs and the rats in the sewers were growing scarce? Is it describing the popular places that live in Paris? No, we're talking about sparrows and rats starving to death. That's not a popular place to live. Is it highlighting the city's wildlife? I mean, they're in there, so B's a better answer than A, but I don't think that it's particularly highlighting them. Is it providing details to emphasize the severity of the famine? So for this, I need to know that emphasize means show or make a big deal about. So I'm going to go with C on this one as my current winner, because that does tell you how bad the famine was if the rats and the sparrows are starving. And then D, the option is, it explains who is besieging the city. Well, I haven't heard at all who is doing that yet in these first two sentences. So we're going to go with C again. All right, and C is correct, and the explanation they give is, the answer is found in the following excerpt. Besieged Paris was in the throes of famine, even the sparrows on the roofs. The scarcity of sparrows and rats is a detail that highlights just how severe the famine in Paris has gotten. All right. I'm going to hit try later. That's how you do this reading for meaning class set. If you want to walk through some of these with me, join during a live class between 7 and 8 p.m. for the workspace, if you want some assistance in working through these. Or join me for the workspace before class on Thursday between 5 and 6 p.m. So either one of those would be good. Here at the end of this recording, just a quick reminder, you can log in and find the distance learning tools. If you go to the link I texted you for the course syllabus, it looks like this. Those distance learning tools are on the right side of that syllabus. There are 3 links. There's the Aztec link, a Newsela link, and a link to the Lexile Hub that'll help you find a book to read at the correct level to prepare for the GED. So if you need any help with any of that, again, my contact information is on the screen. Thanks for listening. I know this was a short one, coming in just under 10 minutes, but I really just wanted to give you a walkthrough on how to get into the Aztec Flash GED tool. Hope you have a good one, and hope to see you in class.